Adama's family wanted a second autopsy and went to the police station the day after his death to stage a peaceful protest.
Merci à tous.
You know, we know that police kill, they know that police kill, police know that they kill. I think we need to find ways of changing the calculus and increasing the cost of, on the police, that they cannot kill and get away with it. Thank you.
Why is this happening? You know, and when we know very clearly that this practice violates the Constitution. Article 24 provides for the non-derogable rights, the rights that cannot be taken away irrespective of what is happening in the country. The right to a fair trial, freedom from torture, right to an order of habeas corpus, these are things within our own Constitution. It does not matter what the problem is or what you're charged with. These are rights that cannot be taken away, but we see them being violated every other day by the police in the practice of fighting terror.
So historically, when you look at the colonial or the formation of the Kenyan state, probably no other institution other than the institution of the chief is so interlinked to the state formation as the institution of the police. Reason being that when the police service was founded in 1890s in Mombasa, the objective of that service, of that force, as it was known, was not to provide law and order as we expect in the contemporary nation state, but it was basically to pacify the natives and to pacify that protectorate then basically for the settlers, but also for economic exploitation by the company that was setting up. The other characteristic also is that this service was ethnicized in nature. The thinking was, in terms of the mind of the colonizer, was first, this is an expanse that is inhabited by the various ethnic groups. You have to profile them, who is loyal, who can do police service. So you find that the recruitment followed ethnic lines. And there are some ethnic groups that were considered not fit for policing service. Independence provided the opportunity to dismantle and transform these services into services that would actually be serving the rights of all citizens. Unfortunately, colonialism did not do that. In fact, any attempt to create a kind of independence police services was very quickly scattered in 1964 with some constitutional amendments. And subsequent to that, we saw the police services becoming the repressive tool of the repressive governments that we had.
For example, if you think about the fact Mathare has been around for 100 years. People don't know that it's been around for 100 years. It was a former quarry. And the same people whose grandchildren are getting shot here are the same people whose whole community was decimated by something called Operation Anvil, when the colonial officers cleared the whole of specific parts of Eastlands and especially Mathare and bits of Kariobangi South because they were looking for Mau Mau. So it bears restating this connection between the poor and the marginalized and police violence, also to indicate and really make evident this long historical process.
And one of the major challenges that we've seen is that we have the laws, we have even set up out the new trainings of police services, but the police haven't changed. Why haven't the police changed? In fact, the police on the beat will tell you that what they operate on every day is the stories they are being told by veterans. When you go out there, it is you and your God. You shoot before they kill, you get them before they kill you. You people who are protesting, you are undermining law and order. The police still don't see themselves as facilitating the constitutional right to protest. They see themselves as coming to save the country or the administration of the day from the disorder that the protesters are bringing. We back to where we began, that the police were created to serve historically a small elite.
The colonial legacy of France is still alive today through the Algerian War, or, for example, hundreds of Algerians who were killed in Paris by the police during a demonstration in 1961.
Ce 17 octobre 61, les forces de l'ordre vont faire payer très cher à ces manifestants pacifiques la mort de leurs collègues policiers assassinés par le FLN dans les mois précédents.
Through ID checks and through several deaths of French men with migration, post-colonial migration background, from a guy named Malik Ousekine, who was killed by the gendarme in 1986, to Adama Traoré, a French person with Malian origin, who was killed by the police a year ago. These police forces are both under the supervision of the Ministry of Interior in Paris, and as also Guillaume said this morning, and as the comparative European surveys show, that the French police is much more characterized by repressive strategies than by prevention or community policing, like it is, for example, in England or in Germany. And these repressive strategies increased since the terrorist attacks of 2015.
Police are not manufactured in any factory. They are your brothers and your sisters. So if there are crooked police out there, they are your siblings. So why do they become crooked? That's the question we have not asked ourselves.
About 2/3 of Nairobi population live in ghettos. That's urban settlements. That's so-called, what is in dominant terms called informal settlements, but people are not informal. So either urban settlements or local terms apply, such as ghettos or mtaa.
So for me, urban planning is formalizing exclusion, but exclusion that comes from a longer process. It comes from a colonial process that created this Nairobi. So that's my first argument. Urban exclusion and police violence that always merit restating and restating, because I think we don't always realize the full extent of this connection.
When I was 12, I had to depend on myself. All my friends here in ghetto. If we talk about isolation of police, we also have to consider the isolation of young men from really young age. They have to fend for themselves. They can even kill you. You can disappear. He went on, just like that. Just for being a young man walking around in the evening. Because in the end, we men live in a war zone becomes we are not Kenyans. Mathare sio Kenya. So that's something that we really need to take account, that 2/3 of Nairobi's population may not feel that they're part of this city, let alone this country.
Il faut savoir que quand on est noir ou arabe ou musulman, originaire d'un quartier populaire, puisque dans les quartiers populaires, il n'y a pas que des noirs, des arabes et des musulmans, il y a aussi des blancs, il y a aussi des asiatiques. Il faut savoir que, voilà, dans cette classe sociale, il y a une persécution au quotidien. C'est-à-dire cette persécution se traduit par tout un tas d'actions émanant de ceux qui sont censés nous protéger, la police ou la gendarmerie.
It's the young people who are being told you are the future of this country, and at the same time they are the ones who are being killed. And so therefore it becomes something that has been normalized. It becomes something that affects a great deal of people, because informal settlement areas, whether it be it in Nairobi or be it in places like Kisumu, covers a large part of the world. But then again, just fundamentally, the police are not supposed to be the ones killing. It's the judiciary that, even if we have death penalties, the judiciary that passes the law. The police cannot be the police, the judge, and the executioner.
So there were two young guys, one called Victor God
and the other one, Bernard Court, who were shot along Mau Road. So the two boys were shot there by police because they were demonstrating. It was on 9th of August 2017, last year. Oh, there's nothing which the government has done for them. It was claimed that they were taxed. Victor is my son. He had 22 years. He was a school dropout because he had already lost his father. I was unable to pay for him his school fees. So much pain for my son. There's no way we can take the case. But if we can get justice, I don't know where I can get justice. That's all.
Innocent men are being killed. Who determines who's the criminal? Who determines who's the innocent man? That gray area. But then the mothers, when we met them at the community dialogues, were also saying, okay, so if you say my son was a criminal, well and good, but don't we have jails? Then take him there because you already know he's a criminal. So bring whatever evidence you have him go through the criminal justice system, let him be convicted, let him go through the process.
So we need to change the narratives that the risk is that you could also be killed. They are not just killing criminals. And we need to find allies in the media, we need to find allies in the legislature, as well as within the executive and police service itself.
How do you expect riot police officers to go and deal with people who are throwing stones? Police, are not supposed to be priests to give you a hug and a flower, and there are many like those, and you wonder where we've crossed the Rubicon, where killing children, every killing is not, unless done in law, is not to be supported, but children being killed and people feeling a need to justify.
Even if you see the cover of our report, you'll see the picture of Rashid shooting the young guy. It went viral. And Rashid mostly operates in Mathare. And we have documented about 140 of his cases. It's a common thing which Rashid, because he's the one who executes most of the young boys in Mathare, and nothing happens to him. Because when you go to the OCS Pangade police station, he'll tell you that he cannot do anything on Rashid.
Kwa sababu hiyo kesi yangu imekaa for now ni 10 years, na huyo askari aliwa mtoto wangu, kumtoa kwa hii station kumpeleka kwa ingine, bado hiyo kitu inaniuma kwa roho, juu mtu bado anapata mshahara yake, na mimi sitaiona Kevin maisha yangu yote.
Okay, the only thing she knows is that the police officer who killed his son was just transferred from this police station to another police station, and he is still on payroll. But with her, she will not see her son again. So she fails to understand where justice can be found.
Na to make the matter worse, huyo askari amekuwa akinikimbisha up and down, hata nikitembea mutembea ni kama mwizi, na mimi si mwizi.
Okay, the worst thing is that the police officer who killed his son, her son, has been threatening her all the time. Like she is a thug, but she's not a thug. So she fails to understand why she's being threatened, and her son was also killed.
So I think this is a remarkable event, and I think we really should really encourage this kind of work and support it, because this is done with risk of their own lives.
And say that poor people are not liars. If they say that their families have been killed, their family members have been killed, they're not liars. It's the people who are often constructed as the criminals, the sex workers, the hawkers, they're the only people who can save this country, and so we need to give them as much hand as we can.
Oh, Mama Liz is just begging you, if you can amplify the voices of the women of the informal settlements, mostly Mathare women, because their boys, their young boys are getting finished. Most of them are begging.
Mtoto ni mwanaume, ako na ID, ako tayari kwenda kutafuta kibarua, lakini anaogopa kwenda kutafuta kazi. Anaishi na mama yake hapa kwa hapa, anaogopa asishikwe na nipige risasi. Swali langu ni je, nitakuwa naishi na huyo mtoto na amefika mwanaume wa kuoa?
The funny thing with Mama Liz is that the question which she's asking is that will mothers stay with their boys all the time? Because boys are afraid from getting away from their mother.
Eux, quand il leur arrive quoi que ce soit, ils sont systématiquement défendus par leur syndicat. Et ce syndicat, bien sûr, a les moyens d'avoir une batterie d'avocats. On s'organise avec les moyens du bord. Donc il y a eu le lancement d'une cagnotte dans les jours qui ont suivi. Donc avec ces fonds, la possibilité de se payer un avocat de qualité. Créer une page Facebook pour pouvoir communiquer le plus largement possible et être son propre média, puisqu'il faut savoir que la première communication, quand on est victime de ce genre d'injustice, la communication est faite par les médias, mais les médias rapportent les informations qui émanent de la préfecture, donc de la police. Et à partir de ce moment-là, c'est là que la famille a commencé à subir une accentuation de la répression de la justice et des forces de l'ordre. C'est-à-dire que les contrôles ont été multipliés, les convocations étaient répétitives, sans la solidarité des habitants. La famille Traoré jamais n'aurait pu tenir tête à l'institution.
This shirt is a donation of Mathare Social Justice to France.
Justice for Adama!
Justice for Adama! Justice! Justice for Adama! Justice! Justice for Adama! Justice! No to extrajudicial killings! No! No to extrajudicial killings! No!
Mina rights tena vabro si wendo libai ka inatisha au kani suspicious ni approach ka some matter of fact. Mr. Police wanafaa kunilinda, vita si lazima, nionyesha upendo bro, heshima, tunawasha moto wezi zima, naonyesha nani weni simba buda weni human. Mimi pia fani my youth wanna live in fear, mina jona skia so na make it clear, una inchi ndio inchi, my youth wanataka respect my dear, nishike nipeleke ndani, unashubila swali watoto wako mtani chilling, kwani huna feeling, si rahisi kuzika na wawo kumtani sleeping. Kenya ilijengwa na siku ngapi, wanataka kuimada na mbili, mwili plus akili, si wote human, so takufa, so hata ukishoot unapata nini, sema
Mr. Police, Mr. Police, Mr. Police, harassment indeed, watching us bleed, police don't proceed. Harassment indeed, watching us bleed, police don't proceed.
Please, Mr. Police, police just
Voyez un black n'est pas trop la vie. Si vous tuerez maintenant un black, nous, on saura ce qu'on va faire. Il y en a marre. Nous allons réagir comme Malcolm X. Maintenant, ça va être comme ça. On n'oublie pas, on pardonne pas. On n'oublie pas, on pardonne pas. On n'oublie pas, on pardonne pas. Tula mama, tula mama, tula
Humain, viva! Viva MSJC, viva! Viva Collective Paris, viva!
Viva!
Viva Danito, viva! Viva! Viva Danito, viva! Viva!